All right, guys. My name is John Goss. I can promise you everything you think you know about hair loss is wrong. I just got out of a haircut. I used to literally dread, I cannot tell you, I used to dread going to get my hair cut because I was losing my hair was thinning, and I literally used to cringe when I would go get my hair cut and I'd have to look in the mirror. And what I'm going to share with you today, this is a picture of me at 25 and I'm 41 now, and my hair is better than ever. And I can tell you, I promise you, what I'm about to share with you can literally change your life if you're struggling with thinning hair or hair loss. This goes for men and women. This has taken me years and years to discover. I've spent millions of my own dollars, and I'm here to help you. I guarantee you, please stick with me, and I'm going to prove to you beyond literally a shadow of a doubt that you can stop hair loss, you can reverse it to a significant degree, and it's much easier than you actually think it is. I want to show you, has this actually worked for other people? This is Paul. We actually have a Facebook group where people have been posting just tons of before and afters. I'll send you guys the link after this. Paul was literally scheduled to go get a hair transplant. He followed the system for 6 months, went back to the hair transplant doctor, and he was told that he was no longer a candidate for a hair transplant. This was his message. You can read it. He says he's stoked, made a huge difference in my life, talks about it. This is another guy, Brian, he said it's changing every month. This is his before and after. He was going to get married and was worried about he wasn't going to be bald at his wedding, and he regrew his hair. Here's a young woman. This is 3-month results. It's insane what you can really do once you figure out exactly what's happening. I get messages like this all the time. This is Mahmood, said that you don't understand how bad it can mess you up mentally. His results. People don't think results like this are possible without a hair transplant. None of the pictures. I actually had a hair transplant many years ago, and then I kept losing my hair, but not one of these other pictures that I'm showing you is from a hair transplant. I just want to make that really clear. What a decision has been life-changing, he says. Here's a really cool image that shows you day 1 through day 95. So 3 months is key. 3 months is like super, super important. I'll tell you why. Here's a young woman, the frontal hair loss. She was told she had frontal fibrosis hair loss. Look at the results. This guy was another gentleman that was scheduled to go have a hair transplant. Here's his message, 55 years old, hair transplant for $8,000. Listen to my podcast, tried it, and regrew his hair. Here's another guy showing what you can do with regrowth on the hairline, 91 days. Another insane case where the scalp is shiny. You can't regrow hair in that area, they say. And honestly, the results I've seen now are better than even what I believed to be possible when I got started. Here's Cole. You can see the mole on the right side of his temple, how that's filled in and grown over. This is just over 3 months. These are all the messages I've got, guys. It's changed my life. I've almost given up talking about they stopped taking finasteride. I couldn't be happier, blah, blah, blah. Like literally, I promise you, what I'm going to share with you today has changed my life, and it's changed now thousands of other people's lives, men and women from all over the world. And I can tell you, I never thought I'd be talking to you about hair loss today. I don't want to be the hair loss guy. I'm actually quite introverted and I keep to myself, and getting in front of the camera and even doing this is very challenging for me, but I wish it's what somebody would have showed me and shared with me when I was going through this journey. But I grew up, I was always in my hair. I made my mom take me to salons and not barbershops. I take pictures to get the perfect haircut. Guys, I was literally voted best hair in high school. I was literally effing voted best hair in high school right here. And I never thought I'd have to worry about hair loss. I was told that we inherit our hair genetics from our mom's side of the family, and this is my mom's dad. My grandfather on my mom's side had the most thick, beautiful black head of hair you've ever seen. He was always like known for his hair and get compliments all the time, just like I did. He literally became the model of masculinity. He worked hard, was successful, and he had great hair. This was me my freshman year, or actually this was me, I was a junior college transfer at Michigan State, but this was my freshman year. You can ever so slightly start to see on the right picture, the picture on the left was my visit. The picture on the right was after a couple years in my second year in college. You can see my hairline just starting, I have kind of combed over, but my hairline is starting to recede, quickly receded, and I ended up here. And I cannot tell you the emotional turmoil that I went through from going from voted best hair, literally my entire life since I was a little kid, always being into my hair, playing soccer with a ponytail and an undercut, and like my hair was my identity, my hair was part of my style, like it was everything to me. And I ended up here, and I remember this day, and it was heartbreaking to me. Like it was, I can't even put into words. I thought I was losing, I thought I lost it. I thought I was never going to get another date. I thought I was never going to be, I'm not attractive anymore. I'm like, my masculinity's gone. I felt like a shell of a human. I would wear hats all the time, and I would act like it didn't bother me, but it destroyed me. I tried everything. My mom and aunt are pharmacists. We have 3 medical doctors in my family. So right away, they recommended the 2. This was in 2001. Still the only 2 FDA approved, and we'll talk more about that. But the 2 and only 2 FDA approved hair loss solutions, minoxidil, and Propecia finasteride, which is now both off patent, so you can get the generic. But I use those religiously. I thought, thank God, there's a solution to this. I can use this. It's going to stop my hair loss. Not only did it not regrow my hair, but my hair loss continued getting worse and worse. And I'm like, how in the hell are these the 2 FDA approved hair loss solutions? and I'm still losing my hair. So then I went on this wild goose chase, and if you have been doing this for a while, you can probably relate. I tried all this BS that didn't work. Every hair loss product, every shampoo on the market. I took all these hair loss vitamins. I took every herb. I was importing herbs from China that were promised, all natural remedies. I was reading books. So I told you I went to have a hair transplant. I got to the point where they told me that a hair transplant is the only real solution to hair loss. I had a hair transplant, and then I kept losing my hair. And I want to share with you like a very valuable, painful lesson. Hair transplants do not stop hair loss. They will take hair from other areas, donor areas. They're even using body hair now, but they'll take hair from one area and put it to the balding area where the hair is gone, and it's great. Nothing against hair transplants. They've come a long way. But if you do not stop the root cause of hair loss, you will have a hair transplant and you're going to continue losing your hair. So this is great. The system is great if you have had a hair transplant, but it's also great to avoid one. And if you've had one, to avoid another one. And it's also great to do before, I literally showed you 2 examples, and there's been many other ones, but literally 2 examples of people that were going to have a hair transplant. Do you understand this? Going to have a hair transplant and avoided having a hair transplant following the system. But I get messages like this. 3 years ago, they had a hair transplant. Now they're on DHT blockers, minoxidil. Nothing works. What the hell's going on? I felt depressed, hopeless. I lost all my confidence. My mental health was in the toilet, and I'm here to freaking help you. I became obsessed with medical research, hoping to find the next hair loss cure. I was reading every NCBI article, PubMed studies, like medical journals, everything you could possibly think of. I was going through USPTO, the patent office, trying to find the new patents. At this time, they were talking about hair cloning. Everything was always 5 years away, and it's still the same exact thing today. Everything that they talk about, it's going to be 5 years. I'm going to share with you why that is. But lasers, don't even get me started on lasers. But I started to find, actually going through all this research, some really promising but confusing information. I was seeing studies like this that talked about 0.2% caffeine versus 5% minoxidil, and that 0.2% caffeine was just as effective. These are studies. So these are completely third-party studies, by the way. This is just research that you can find online from PubMed and other medical journals. But it showed in vitro study that caffeine was a clear stimulator of hair growth and just as effective as minoxidil. 0.2% caffeine was as effective at stopping hair loss as 5% minoxidil. So the question is, why isn't that FDA approved and marketed for hair growth? Why don't we know about that? Finasteride was patented in 1984 and approved for medical use in 1992. And minoxidil was on the market in the 1950s. So why in the hell have we had anything approved for hair loss in over 30 years? How is it possible that we haven't had any advancements in hair loss when every other industry and every other market has had dramatic improvements? For reference, this was the technology we were using in 1992. These were the cell phones. And then I kept reading, and I would discover other things. And these are, published way after, since minoxidil and finasteride were approved. But this talked about that tretinoin, or retinoic acid, was a stimulator, and it regrew, not just stopped hair loss. It says tretinoin was shown to stimulate hair regrowth in 58% of subjects. So we're not talking stopping hair loss. For instance, finasteride from Merck, the manufacturer, is claimed and studied to only slow down hair loss by 30%, not regrow. This is saying that tretinoin, at a very small percentage, is actually showing to regrow hair in 58% of subjects. So I'm like, what the hell? How are we not talking about this? Then this is another really important study. I came across these fatty acid complexes like linoleic acid, oleic acid, and omega-6 polysaturated acid. And they were talking about how these are crazy effective at stopping hair loss because they're binding to the androgen receptor, the hair follicle. We'll talk about more of that in a minute. But I'm like, what the hell? Why are these not available? Why can I not get these? Why have I never heard about these before? And how do I get these actually? So when you're really desperate and you're really passionate about trying to solve a problem, you'll do whatever it takes. This is me on a Zoom call with one of the top medical doctors at Ohio State University, actually. And I contacted him trying to figure out how to get the formulas, talking about the studies, how to get that. And this was an article that I came across. It's actually from the FDA. This is called a final action rule, but this is why I couldn't get these ingredients and why you haven't heard of this. But on 1989, the FDA issued a final action rule that said that anything that talks about hair loss prevention, hair loss, or hair regrowth has to file for FDA approval. The issue with that is FDA approval costs a shit ton of money, $2.5 to $3 billion now. So, and we're going to talk more about this later, but we couldn't get these ingredients. I couldn't buy these ingredients. We'll talk more about that. So I packed my bags. I started traveling all over the world. These are some of I was in medical device sales. I had my own business at the time. Thank God I was doing well financially. I had the means to travel around, but this just goes to show you from 2014 to 2020, I spent close to $1.2 million of my own money trying to solve this thing. And what did I learn on this crazy journey? That's exactly what I'm sharing with you today. Literally just trying to solve my own problem. Pay attention right now. I'm going to explain to you what is actually causing hair loss and how you can actually stop it and reverse it to a significant degree. So what causes hair loss? Is it genetics? Is it diet? Is it lifestyle? What the hell's going on? Why do we lose our hair? Everything in the universe is cause and effect. There's so many myths about hair loss. But if you've done any research, you've been told that testosterone gets converted by 5-alpha reductase to DHT, and that just somehow magically causes hair loss. But what they don't tell you is what's happening is these androgen hormones from testosterone, both men and women have these, they get converted to DHT and other hormones, and they bind to the androgen receptor of the hair follicle. But it's just like what's happening in this example of heart disease. I used to work for Medtronic, which is one of the largest medical device manufacturers in the world, and I used to work in their CRM division. I used to implant pacemakers and defibrillators. So I learned a lot about the heart. But with heart disease, what's happening is the heart arteries get clogged by plaque, and plaque then reduces blood flow. And when you reduce blood flow, and if you don't fix it in the heart, what happens is called a heart attack, or a myocardial infarction is actually the medical term, but it leads to the death of the cells around the area, because blood flow is what carries all the nutrients, what carries the oxygen, it carries all the energy and the things that the heart muscle actually needs to pump to function. The exact same thing is happening at the hair follicle. Hair loss is caused by a restriction of blood flow to the hair follicle, and it's because blood flow is what carries all the vitamins and nutrients to the hair follicle. So I was taking supplements by the mouthful. I was trying all these supplements. It has nothing to do with not getting enough vitamins and nutrients through a normal diet. Even if you're eating freaking McDonald's and having a shitty diet, when you're younger, your hair was probably really healthy. The problem is that those nutrients and oxygen mainly aren't getting to the hair follicle. Okay. So, make it real simple. Hair loss is caused by a restriction of blood flow to the hair follicle. And this is what actually led to the discovery of minoxidil ibogaine in the 1950s. This was Dr. Khan. He was the one that was doing a study at a university in Colorado. They were using it it was actually initially discovered, they were trying it for ulcers, testing it for ulcers, and they noticed that it was increasing hair growth. And the idea is it's a vasodilator. So if you increase the diameter of the vessel to it, that allows for more blood to flow through the vessel. But the problem with minoxidil and minoxidil alone, I'm not saying that minoxidil is not helpful. Minoxidil is helpful, but the reason why millions of men and women are still losing their hair despite having minoxidil on the market since 1950s is because it's only treating the symptom and it's not treating the underlying cause. It's like if you had a kink in a hose and you went over to the garden hose to turn up the pressure to try to get more water to go through the hose without removing the kink. Propecia, finasteride, they're actually trying to address the kink, but the problem is to effectively stop hair loss by taking a pill like finasteride or any DHT blocker, you would have to take such a higher dose of that you are essentially chemically castrating yourself, and the side effects would be even more dramatic. This was a study that showed that eunuchs, this was actually a really important study that I came across that proved this, but it showed that eunuchs are males that have been castrated or don't produce any testosterone because they don't have testicles. They don't lose their hair. So yes, it is tied to androgen hormones, like I said, but if you are trying to solve this by taking a pill systemic throughout your entire body, you're literally chemically castrating yourself, and the side effects are significant. And again, you would have to take such a higher dose than the 1 milligram of finasteride, and so that is not the solution. But here's a list of side effects. As you've known, we don't need to get into this, but people have committed suicide that they think it's linked to that. Okay, so like I said earlier, Merck, the manufacturer, says that finasteride only slows down hair loss by 30%. Yet, these are the only things that still are on the market that are being pushed by these big companies. Finasteride. What the hell is going on? I want to show, and this is something I wanted to prove to you. I've had blood work done. I get blood work done every 3 months. But my testosterone is 996, and this is naturally. I don't do any TRT or supplementation of testosterone. Thank God I have naturally high testosterone, and my hair is now better than it was when I was in my 20s and 30s. So it's very possible to have high testosterone, have healthy high testosterone, which is very important for the guns. You gotta be healthy. I'm just kidding, but you can have healthy hair with high testosterone. Why haven't you heard of me or this solution? Again, back to this article. 1989, the FDA said anything that talks about hair loss has to go through FDA approval. FDA approval, $2.6 to $3 billion. The hair loss market's huge, right? So the hair loss market's an $8 billion industry. So big pharmaceutical companies would happily invest $8 billion or happily invest $3 billion to get an $8 billion return. The issue is the only way that big pharma or big companies could do this is to secure their hair IP with a patent. In the medical industry, the only way you can do that is with a patent. Here's the problem. You cannot get a patent on anything that's natural, anything that's been studied in the past and shown benefit. Even if it's been proven to be effective, you cannot get a patent or any available prescription ingredient. So there's literally $0 of research and development going into anything that's been studied in the past, been proven to be effective in the past, just like those things that I showed you that are super effective and been proven to be effective, but you haven't heard of them because Big Pharma and the way that the medical system is set up today, they cannot get a patent on those ingredients, even though they're the most effective and more effective than just 5% minoxidil and finasteride. So even if you had the freaking cure to hair loss, it would literally be financial suicide for a company to go through FDA approval to solve hair loss and then market it, even if the solution already existed and was proven to be safe and effective. This is why you haven't heard of the most effective ingredients that are available and solutions for hair loss, and that's what I'm here to share with you today. And nothing against this company. I have used their products and tried them before, and they are a $1 billion company now, and they're selling 5% minoxidil and finasteride. No innovation, and now they're selling sexual things, but what do you think? Do you think they're the most effective company that's selling hair loss products? I can guarantee you they're not. Think about all the biggest companies in the world: Google, Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple. This is how Amazon got started. This is Jeff Bezos. He had an Amazon.com spray painted on a sign. This is how innovation starts, guys. Here's Zuckerberg in his dorm room where he started Facebook. This is Steve Jobs, just incredible entrepreneur. If the tech industry was set up the way the healthcare industry is today, we probably wouldn't have computers, cell phones, or the internet today. So the question is, how have I solved, and not only I, but now thousands of others, and I'm not taking credit for this. I am the beneficiary of brilliant doctors, chemists, engineers that I've had the privilege to work with, and I'm so grateful that I'm so grateful, and I feel obligated to share the message. But how and what is the solution? I have to give you a medical disclaimer that this information is only to inform. It's not medical advice. You always should contact or consult with your doctor when it comes to your personal health before you start any healthcare treatment. So what's the secret? Guys, the secret is there's no freaking secret. The secret is hair loss and trying to grow hair has nothing to do with trying to grow new hair. All you have to do is restore blood flow back to the hair follicle. So we talked about the hair follicle. What's going on at the hair follicle that's causing hair loss? DHT and other androgen hormones are attaching to this thing called the androgen receptor of the hair follicle. This is causing a restriction of blood flow. When the blood flow gets restricted, the hair follicle gets weaker. The hair follicle gets weaker and weaker. The hair gets thinner and thinner until the hair follicle is so weak it cannot produce hair, and then we call it hair loss. It's literally cause and effect. But it all is due to blood flow restriction to the hair follicle. And there are ingredients, and very safe and effective ingredients, natural ingredients that are very, again, proven effective. Linoleic acid, azelaic acid, caffeine, retinol, tretinoin. There's all these ingredients that are effective at stopping this problem. But these linoleic and oleic acids are very effective at binding to the hair follicle, inhibiting DHT without reducing DHT in the body and causing all the negative side effects like finasteride. So this is done locally. So what I'm trying to say is we have to get these fatty acid complexes and these ingredients to the hair follicle, but there's a challenge here. The problem is the epidermis, which is the outer layer of the skin, is a protective barrier. Think of like the alligator skin or a orange peel. Like that outer layer is designed to keep the inside safe. The exact same thing is true for the outer layer of our skin, the epidermis. It's a protective barrier to keep pollutants and things out of our body to keep us safe. So the hair follicle, which is where the problem is, it has nothing to do with the hair. If you take care of the hair follicle, the hair will take care of itself. It has nothing to do with the hair, everything to do with the hair follicle. The problem is the hair follicle is underneath the epidermis. So I want to share with you, if I may, my 3-step process that it's taken me now 22 years to really perfect. And I've worked with, the best of the best in the entire world. And I've spent millions of dollars of my own money trying to figure out this system. And this is the best on the market by far. The first thing you have to do, and this is a huge confusing thing for most people. Like the common thought is when you start having hair loss and thinning hair, you need to be extra gentle and delicate with your hair and scalp to not make the problem worse. And logically that makes sense. But the truth is the exact opposite is actually true. You need to do the opposite. It's like we brush our teeth with a toothbrush because that removes plaque and it's the best for our teeth. You don't brush your teeth with your finger. So there's all this buildup on our scalp. Dandruff, sebum, oils, like dead skin. So the first step is really exfoliating the scalp. And when you do this, here's a zoom in picture. They have these microscopes that you can look in and look at the health. This is the difference between a healthy scalp and an unhealthy scalp. But what I do is I use this shampoo that I had formulated with a high percentage of caffeine. That's the other thing. I've tested all the highest selling products. All these products that claim different things. The level of ingredients are shit. And they're all marketing. So I use a shampoo that has a very specific percentage of caffeine and other ingredients, the ARBs. But what I do is I use warm water, I get the hair wet, warm water opens up the epidermis, the law of thermodynamics, then I put in the shampoo, then I brush the hell out of my scalp with these 2 brushes. So you can do it like I'm showing you here, or you can really just go back and forth. With women that have longer hair that they can't pass through the hair like this, there's 2 options. For women, you can put in a conditioner first, which allows the brushes to pass more easily through the hair. So you can put in conditioner and then really vigorously brush with the scalp, or brush with the brushes on the scalp. And I brush about 20 times, but you'll feel it once you start using it. You want to brush it where it's a little sensitive. You don't want to overdo it, but you want to stimulate the scalp. And what this is doing is removing dead skin, dandruff, and sebum. Then I put the shampoo in and I leave it sit for 5 minutes. Step number 2 is what I call microabrasion. So this was actually where down the road from where I live, they were aerating a green, or the grass. And what they do here is, you can see at the top level, the grass, they have this machine that they're poking holes down vertically at a 90-degree angle, and then they're putting in fertilizer. The reason why is that then allows the ingredients to pass through the top crust, the topsoil, to get to the roots. Same exact thing as what we do with this. This is what I call microabrasion. It's a microneedle derma roller, but it's specifically designed and engineered with a company from South Korea that I've traveled to and worked with. They're the best in the world. South Korea is known as the cosmetic capital of the world. I've tried them all. You got to be very careful because a lot of these are made with stamped metal, and they're actually like serrated knives where you'll cut through the skin and damage your hair follicle. These are individual, and the needle lengths are very, very specific, and it's studied to be the most effective for the scalp and hair follicle. But the reason why you do this is this creates the channels, just like the video I showed you, and then it allows you to put a topical solution on that includes the ARB, and then that penetrates to actually get to the hair follicle. This was many years ago, showing like I was rolling. So this was not from a hair transplant. You can see my temple, but I regrew the hair in my temple by this process. So you can actually regrow hair, and I've showed you examples of this. You don't need to roll anywhere near this hard. I was still kind of learning what I was doing, but this is an example that you can roll. But look at the temple, and look at the temple now, how I regrew the hair in that area. And that is not from a hair transplant. This is also why, like when you twist your ankle and your ankle swells with blood, the reason why is that's the body's natural healing mechanism. It's sending blood flow to the area. It's damaged, it sends blood flow. So when you use this roller and also the brushes, you're creating micro trauma in that area, and the body sends blood flow. Blood flow is the key to hair growth and healthy hair follicles. It's super effective. But then after you roll, you put on I call it liquid gold. It's like a liquidy, or it's a kind of a yellowish gold color from the oleic acids. But it also has caffeine. It has minoxidil in it. It has niacin. It has all the best. I've worked with the best of the best in the entire world. I've created the solution for myself. I never intended in a million years to be selling hair loss products. I created this for myself. And so it's the best of the best of the best, but this is the system. And then you apply this topical solution, it gets to the hair follicle through the epidermis, and it blocks, it inhibits DHT without removing and reducing DHT in your body. And this is how I do it. You just put the dropper in, and another thing is, like, the FDA 5% minoxidil says 1 ml. That was what is approved for. 1 ml, 1 milliliter, doesn't really cover the entire scalp, and especially if you have a lot of hair loss areas. But this is how you do it. You want to get the solution onto the scalp. So you roll, and then you apply the topical solution immediately afterwards. This is what's possible with regrowth. Look at this gentleman's regrowth in not just the overall health of his hair, but look at the temples. Look at the growth that has come in, and this is new growth. You can see that's new hair. Here's another example. Look at, again, most people don't think this is possible. Regrowth in the entire scalp. Not only is he preventing any further hair loss and not having to worry about hair loss again, he's literally regrowing hair. Okay? Here's another example. Bald spot in the crown. Look at the difference in the hair. Look at the different, literally regrown hair. Guys, this is not almost dropped an F-bomb. This is not a scam. Like, this is real. This is true. These are real pictures. I never even asked anybody to share their pictures. I created a Facebook group to talk about this, and people just started posting before and afters, and this is them. This is Lisa from our group. You can see 60 days. So I say 3 months, 90 days, because the anagen phase is the growth phase of the hair cycle, and it takes some time for this to happen. It starts working immediately. There's benefits. The benefits start working immediately, but it takes some time to see the results, right? Most people have been battling and having chronic hair loss Thinning hair, guys, is hair loss. The first sign of hair loss actually happens before you can even see it happening. The first sign of hair loss is thinning hair. Thinning hair gets worse and worse until you lose your hair. So most people have been having thinning hair and hair loss for years, and 90 days to start seeing results is very, very reasonable in my opinion. Here's another result. Like, again, most people, this is insane. Here's another woman. More results here. 3 months. Spencer saying he's tried everything. He expected this to fail. I mean, he's extremely thankful, lifelong benefits, and he is thankful because it changed his life. People don't understand, if you haven't gone through hair loss and thinning hair yourself, and this isn't just about hair loss and thinning hair, this is about really taking care of your health. This is the health of your hair follicle. And we just haven't been told and taught properly how to take care of the health of our hair and our hair follicle, and that's why this big problem exists. So to summarize, how do you actually stop hair loss? It's a 3-step system. This is what I believe to be the best in the world. It starts with scalp exfoliation, then the shampoo. You leave that sit for 5 minutes so the ingredients, the caffeine and the other ingredients and the ARB can get to the hair follicle. Then when I get out of the shower, I towel dry my hair, and then I roll with the micro abrasion, and I do that for 10 to 15 times in any hair loss or thinning hair area. You can do it every day. You can either do it every day or every other day. Either is going to be fine. Once you get used to this, you'll discover what works best for you and where you're sensitive. And then I apply the topical solution right after I roll. If you don't want the topical solution to be on, I recommend doing it once per day. You don't have to do it once per day. So if you don't want to do this, if you shower in the morning, you can do this at night before bed. You only want to be careful if you do it before bed that you don't just put it on and then go lay on your pillow, because you're literally just taking a towel and wiping it right off. So you want to give it an hour before bed to dry, or use like a Tempur-Pedic neck roll pillow or something like that to let it dry. One of the questions I get is, will this work if I'm completely bald? The last thing I want to do is what everybody did, like so many people, I don't want to say everybody, but so many people did to me when I was going through my hair loss journey, is take advantage of people. I don't want to take advantage of people and give false hope. If I'm completely bald, will this work for me? These are results of people that were bald that have had results. I do not want to overpromise and underdeliver. If you're completely bald, it's not ideal. You can regrow a significant amount of hair. It's going to take some time. You're really going to have to put in a lot of effort. That's not ideal. Ideally, you start as soon as possible and you prevent as much as you can. But these are people that, in my opinion, significantly bald and have had amazing results. Here's another one, shiny scalp. This is insane. I mean, he's regrown his entire head of hair. So yes, it's possible. Here's another image of regrowth of, really bald scalps. But what I want to say is, and here's other, I didn't even know I had this in here. Julie talking about, does it grow hair and bald spot? Yes, it does. Only 4 months. I've been bald for the last 10 years. So you can, but what I want to say, 20 years in Addison's brought my hair back. But what I want to say is, again, the last thing I want to do is overpromise and underdeliver. I have been taken advantage of. I don't like it, and I want to help people. So there is always hope. I lost my hope, and it's not fun. But there's always hope. And this is a doctor that's in, like, the technology with hair transplants are insane. So if you're completely bald, you can restore your hair and have a full head of hair. You may need a hair transplant. I would use this for 6 months to give yourself the best chance possible. Before you had a hair transplant, you'll regrow as much hair as possible. Your existing hair will be healthier and stronger, so you'll have better, stronger grafts if you need a hair transplant. And hopefully you will avoid a hair transplant and you can prevent from having one. But there's always hope. You can message me and our team at any time. We can direct you where to go, what to do. I told you 3 months is a super important time frame. Don't buy this if you're just gonna wing it and half-ass it and not do it seriously. You won't be happy. If you're not really disciplined and gonna take this seriously and be consistent for 3 months, I wouldn't waste your time. But if you're serious and you want some serious results and you want the best product on the market, and you can have real results, I've given the last over 12 years of my life to this to make this happen in a reality. I've sold my house, my car, my 401k. I've cashed in everything to make this reality. And I'm super grateful because we have people that say it's changed their life every day. But 3 months is important because the anagen phase of the anagen growth phase, which is the beginning part of the hair growth cycle, this is 3 months results, and then they just get better. But here's another 3 month result. You will see results in 90 days. Here's 3 month results. But those results, you'll see results at 3 months. You'll probably see results sooner. I mean, I'm, again, trying to under promise and over deliver. You'll probably see results in the first month especially if your hair loss isn't super bad. But then it just keeps getting better and better and better, and so you have full regrowth. But this is another guy literally making the impossible real. Hair loss seems to be historical. This was Michael, 4 months results, insane. So guys, what we believe to be possible, and I think this goes for a lot of different areas in life. There's a lot of things that we have limited false beliefs. I certainly have had a lot of those in other areas of my life that I'm working through and growing through, and honestly, just being in front of you right now on camera is a big one. But this is 3-month results. Another woman, here's 6-month results, 20 years. She said she's been working on it, but it's the best. This guy said I had a tear. This is a gentleman you saw earlier, had a tear come to my eye when he saw it. 60 days, guys. The results, I mean, we have tons of them, and this is a fraction of what we have. Common questions. Is this the same as minoxidil? I already told you minoxidil is good. Minoxidil doesn't solve the problem. This is someone in our group that's used it and said it's not anything like minoxidil. Adagen saved me. Still using it after 2 years ago on my density back and then some. So minoxidil is good. We have minoxidil, and go ahead and use minoxidil first and see if that works. It didn't work for me. It hasn't worked for millions of other people, and it's because it's not treating the root cause of hair loss. We have minoxidil in the solution because it is safe, it is effective, and it does help, but it's not treating the root cause. When you combine that with all the other ingredients that I talked about, it's a game changer. Can I continue using finasteride while using Adagen? So this was somebody that Wes used it. He was able to get off finasteride for almost 15 years, or he was on it for 15 years. You can definitely stay on it. If you're not having side effects, it's a personal decision, right? So you should consult your doctor. There's been a lot of people that have gotten off finasteride. If it's not bothering you and you feel good, it's a safety buffer. It'll help. It's not bad for hair growth or anything. There's something called dutasteride, which it's off-label. It's an off-label prescription, but it's much more effective than finasteride. It blocks both type 1 and type 2 of 5-alpha reductase. And there's also some evidence that shows that it's safer and less side effects, but it's still, no matter what you do, taking a pill, there's not going to be any pill that you're ever going to be able to take that stops hair loss, because you'll be chemically castrating yourself. You have to treat hair loss and the problem at the site of the problem, which is the hair follicle. So it has to be done topically. It doesn't matter taking DHT blockers, vitamins, supplements, Nutrafol. None of that stuff matters. You have to treat it at the hair follicle. Anybody that tells you otherwise is lying to you. Is it okay to wash your hair every day? Yes. This is another big misnomer. You can wash your hair every day, and it's actually beneficial. So I wash my hair every day. If you don't, no problem, but use the shampoo and let it sit and brush every time that you shower and shampoo. Do laser helmets interfere with these? No, they do not. Don't waste your money on a laser helmet. They don't work. But guys, this one, how long do you spend rolling and brushing? I brush for 10 to 15 times. I roll for 10 to 15 times. But you'll get in the rhythm and you'll understand how to do it yourself. Should I be using saw palmetto? So this is a DHT blocker. Not necessarily. You can cut out all your supplements. And if you're taking supplements, guys, and other products, you can just subtract that from the cost of $4.44, whatever you're paying for that. It's a really good bargain in my opinion. This guy said, he changed his hairline, going to change the world with this, and I believe that to be true. We're growing rapidly. We just got Inc. 5000 fastest growing company in the United States, and it's an honor to be here to serve you, and I know what it feels like to be in your shoes, and I'm here to try to help. I'm going to leave you with this. This was Brian, his story. He said that he wanted to make sure that when he was getting married that he was losing his hair, and he was really self-conscious about his wedding photos, being bald in his wedding photos on photos that were going to last the rest of his life. And he said, thanks to us, and again, I don't take credit for any of this, that he was able to make it to his wedding with a full head of hair. And something that used to cause him so much grief and embarrassment is something that now he's super confident and grateful for. So, guys, it works. It's changed my life. It's changed thousands of other people's lives as well. If you have any questions, please feel free to send us a message. You can send us an email at support@adagen.com, or you can send us we'll send you links to the Facebook group, but if you just Google Adagen Facebook group, it'll come up. And guys, it's a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you for your time. Hair loss is history. You got to be disciplined. You got to be consistent. If you are, I promise you, this shit works. It's the best in the world. And it's a privilege and an honor to be with you and share this with you today. Thank you for your time. I'll talk to you soon.